close your eyes and pull like a dog.
And a new Irish record for Phil Healy, 22.99.
Christy Cooney hands over the Sam Maguire Cup to Graham Canty, Cork All-Ireland champions for the 7th time ever.
Hello and welcome to the Star Sports Podcast. I'm Jack McCarran of the Southern Star and I'm joined in studio by Star Sport editor Kieran McCarthy. On today's show we'll be speaking to boxing star Christina Desmond, who was crowned Irish Elite Champion in Dublin on Saturday night.
We'll also chat to Carbery GAA's new Games Promotion Officer Paddy Crowley about his new role and the importance of grassroots coaching. Also, later we'll have details about a fantastic competition where we'll give away a Cork GAA jersey to one lucky winner.
But Kieran, before all that, there is only one place to start, and that's with the Cork footballers, who were beaten once again on Saturday night. In a few minutes we'll be joined by Denis Hurley, who was at the game. But before we get his thoughts, just give us a quick assessment, Kieran, of where the Cork footballers are at the minute, now that relegation is looking more and more likely.
It's going from bad to worse, Jack, to be honest, with the Cork footballers. So the state of the play at the moment is we're 4 games in. Cork have lost the last 3. They've 1 point from those 4 games and they're rock bottom of Division 2. So they're now staring the relegation to Division 3 in the face. Like it's pretty grim at the moment, Jack, to be quite honest. 3 games left for Cork. They probably have to win 2 of those. Away to Tipperary on Saturday night. After that, there's a home game against Donegal. And after that, it's an away game against Armagh. So they've 3 tough games left. So it's not looking too good, to be quite honest, Jack, right now.
Well, as I mentioned, Denis Hurley was at Páirc Uí Rinn on Saturday and he spoke to Kieran a little earlier on.
Good stuff, Dennis. Thanks for joining us. You were at Páirc Uí Rinn on Saturday for Cork's latest league game, but unfortunately it was another defeat. So Cork are bottom of the table, 3 league losses in a row, no competitive win in 9 months. The team looks devoid of confidence. How bad are things right now for Cork football, Dennis?
It's fairly worrying. You're kind of trying to put things in a positive light, or as positive as you can after each new loss, but it's certainly getting harder to do that. It's like the old joke that we all wanted Cork to get out of Division 2 this year, and it looks like they might be doing that, but unfortunately at the wrong end. Even before Saturday night, it was looking kind of like a better than evens chance that they'd go down, given that they'd played 3 and not won any, and the 4 games left were tough. Home to Meath, who were top of the table, was always going to be a tall order, and that's the way it proved. And you're looking now at Tipperary away, Donegal at home, and Armagh away. You'd need to win at least 2 of those to stay up, and that probably wouldn't even be enough, given that Down were relegated with 6 points last year. So it is kind of in miracle territory.
Were there any positives to take from the performance against Meath on Saturday?
If you're really scraping, you'd say that they did well at the end of the first half to come back to within a point. At half time, probably not deserving to be that close. Meath should definitely had a goal before half time. And the way they came back after going down by 8 to come back to 4 and give themselves a half a chance, but it never felt like there was going to be a comeback, and Meath always kind of had the ability to extend the lead, which they did with the second goal. Conor Dennehy from St Finbarrs he had a fairly good display at cornerback. Micheál Martin came in and goal for Mark White, and he couldn't really be faulted for either of the goals he conceded. But beyond that, there wasn't a whole lot to take from it. It's just, like you say, it's a team devoid of confidence, and it's a vicious circle. You lose because you're not confident, and then when you lose, your confidence is dented even more. So, it's like a chicken and egg scenario. Which came first?
Is the fear that Cork haven't hit rock bottom yet? Graham Canty said there a couple of weeks ago at the launch of the Cork 5-year plan to kind of resurrect football in the county, that Cork are a mid-table Division 2 team, but like Cork are now bottom of Division 2. Last year Cork just avoided relegation to Division 3. Like, is the fear that Cork haven't hit rock bottom, that there could be worse to come yet than this?
Oh, well, rock bottom is the bottom of Division 4. Things like the Cork fans will say, geez, this is the worst we've ever had, but it can get worse, and that's the sad truth of it. You look at a team like Derry, who were Division 1 not so long ago as well, and they've had to go down to Division 4, and they'll probably get promoted, but it can always get worse, and that's the sad truth of it. You'd hope it won't. You'd hope that if Cork did go down to Division 3, they'd come straight back up, but we thought that about Division 2, and when you are on a losing streak, it becomes nearly impossible to turn things around. You just need to get one win and just restore some little bit of belief and build on that, and it is just inch by inch and step by step that you do rebuild the confidence. We've been saying for a while that there's no quick fix with it, and patience is what's needed, but no fan ever wants to hear that. They want things to be turned around as quickly as possible, but that's not the case with Cork football. That's why it's a 5-year plan to sort things out, and I know that 5-year plan is something happening in tandem with the senior football team's performances, and it's not necessarily linked to it, but it is certainly an acknowledgement that the good times aren't just around the corner, and it's a case of one or two small things all of a sudden putting us back to the levels of where they were when Conor Coonahan was in charge.
You were saying there that Cork need that one win. Like, they need that one win against Tip on Saturday night, because Tip are just above them in the table. They're second from bottom. Like, if Cork lose that, it's nearly all over then, isn't it?
Oh, I think if they did lose, that would be that, yeah, definitely. And even if they were to win, it probably wouldn't be enough in terms of relegation, but it would be just a little bit of a sense of turning things around. In May of last year, Cork went to Thurles again with little expected of them, and they got the win in the championship, and I suppose it was overshadowed by what happened afterwards, but it was proof that there is something in there. There is a little bit of hope, and that if you did get that first step, then you could start to build on it. But right now it probably seems like you're just in the middle of a dark tunnel, and you can't really see any light at the end of it.
Looking at some of the stats of the last couple of games, like Cork are only averaging 10 points a game. 1-5 against Fermanagh, 10 points against Kildare, 1-10 against Clare, 1-9 against Meath. Is it a case that they're just not scoring enough?
Well, I suppose that's part of it, and we thought after the Fermanagh and Kildare games, there looked to be a bit of hope that at least they were cutting down on what was being conceded. But then the Clare game blew that out of the water with 3-13 conceded and then 2-12 conceded against Meath on Saturday. So there's definitely a little bit of work to be done on that front as well. You look at Colm O'Neill retiring. He was Cork's top scorer in the league last season. You don't just replace his output at the drop of a hat. There are guys there who can score. Luke Conley can. On his day, Michael Hurley has shown flashes in the league. He's probably been Cork's most impressive attacker. His brother Brian, obviously, still trying to get back to the pitch of intercounty football, which isn't very easy after a long period out. Mark Collins scored a lot in last year's league, but he's been played a lot deeper, I suppose, this year, and he was on the bench on Saturday. He did come on and got 2 frees and set up a point for Sean Powter. Paul Kerrigan as well, just kind of coming back after a period away, and he's probably as much of a creator as he is a scorer. Sean Powter will be back too, but again, even though he got the goal Saturday, he's not going to be a guy who'll kick 7 or 8 points. So definitely in terms of a marquee player to do that. Donald O'Connor, of course, another recent retiree who would be capable of that. You need to allow guys time to step up to that level. And it just, the sad truth of it is that it just doesn't happen at the flick of a switch.
No, like you said there, Dennis, it's tough times for Cork football. But before I let you go, also Cork Ring last Saturday night, the Cork ladies got to play part of a doubleheader with the men's team for the first time. Great occasion. Like that's a real step forward for the Cork ladies football team, Dennis.
Oh, it is, absolutely. Even though the result didn't go their way either. Tip caught them with a good comeback, but you'd say that it's a Cork team without some of the more established names. The more Naby players are on extended leave after their All-Ireland win, and it's a very young team. Efi Fitzgerald knows that, and he says the league is about finding new players. So, the result was secondary, definitely. It was a great occasion. It was great to see the two teams on the same bill. It'll be happening again in just over a fortnight for the game against Donegal, and we'll have it in the championship again. So it's important that these things become the rule rather than the exception, and it looks to be a positive first step in that regard.
Good stuff, Dennis. Thanks very much for joining us. Hopefully the next time we're talking, we'll have a more positive story about Cork football.
Absolutely. Fingers crossed.
Thank you for listening to the Star Sports Podcast. Don't forget to pick up this week's Southern Star, featuring our award-winning sports section that has everything a sports fan in West Cork could want. Available every Thursday in shops across West Cork and online from anywhere in the world. The Southern Star, #1 for sport in West Cork.
On Saturday night at the National Stadium, Martra boxer Christina Desmond came out on top in what was arguably the fight of the night at the Irish Elite Finals, beating the well-fancied Grania Walsh. Jack, can you explain the significance of that?
Yeah, well, basically the Elite Finals night is essentially the jewel in the crown of the Irish amateur boxing calendar. And Saturday's was particularly significant considering we're edging ever closer to the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. Christina, who's from Kilnamartyr, as you mentioned, came out on top in the 69 kg category, which is also interesting because for most of her career to date, she's campaigned at 75 kgs and campaigned quite successfully for that matter. And when I spoke to her earlier, I asked her about her change in divisions as well as next year's Olympics.
Christina, first of all, congratulations on your big win on Saturday night. How did it feel to come out on top in such a thrilling fight?
It was unbelievable. I didn't believe it at the start. When they said split decision, you can nearly see from my face that I was absolutely shocked. Now, my trainers thought I did won well in the first and second round, but I didn't really know. So once my hand was being raised and once my name was called out, it was just absolutely incredible. It was a great win. It was one of my best wins probably in the National Stadium, so I'm delighted.
And obviously, you know yourself only too well that you can never be sure in boxing. When you won your bronze medal in the European Championships, you felt you actually won the fight, but the decision went against you on that occasion. So you can never be sure, can you?
No, you can never be sure. When it goes down to split decision, you're shaking your boots either way, whoever you are, because you don't know what way it's going to go. Unfortunately, you don't know what they're looking for, and each judge is different. So it's mad when it goes down to split decision. Yeah.
And there's also the case that Grania Walsh was fancied. She was the defending champion, so to get a win against her was obviously great as well.
Yeah, and it was massive. I knew I was the underdog going into it, so I knew if it came down anyway tight that it would go in her favour. Like, obviously she was the favourite and she was the one training on the elite squad at the time. But no, I feel that it was a right judgment. I feel I did have the beating of her on the night. On a different night, it might have been different, but that night I felt that I had the beatings of her. So, yeah, I'm just over the moon. So it hasn't really sunk in yet.
Yeah, and obviously you were unfortunate to miss out on last year's final through injury. So to be back there under the lights in the National Stadium in front of a packed house, and it was live on TG Catter, and I felt it was fight of the night. There were some other fights that ran it close, but for my money, it was fight of the night. So it must have got a great thrill to be. Everyone's been speaking about the fight since then.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was great. It was unbelievable. I've never fought. Normally, when I'm fighting in big crowds, it's abroad, and to fight in such a crowd like that in Dublin, with my own home crowd and with everyone around, that has known me from a young age, it was just incredible. Like I didn't even. It hasn't sunken yet, obviously, but like even to walk into the crowd and the atmosphere was electric. Like, so it was just unbelievable. Not that I took any notice of it when I was there, but looking back on it now, it's just exceptional. Like.
And so I don't know if you've watched back the TG Catter broadcast yet, but Sean Bonbrannock, who was doing the commentating, was very excited during your fight, particularly because there's a a connection to the Gaelga. So that also added to the TV experience from my point of view from watching at home. Have you watched it back, the TV broadcast yet?
Yeah, I watched it back. Yeah, a few of the family were watching it again on Sunday, so I watched it back, and yeah, the excitement was fierce. All right, yeah. He was awfully very excited, but no, it was great. It added to it. Like it was great to see it back with commentary, and yeah, they all had good word to say about me, so I was delighted about that too.
Now, obviously, you've campaigned successfully at middleweight in the past, which is 75 kgs for the people listening who aren't familiar with boxing weight classes. But your win on Saturday night came in the welterweight division, or 69 kilograms. First of all, before we go too deep into that, how have you managed the weight cut in terms of, has it been over a sustained period of time, or was it done over a short period of time? And how have you settled into the new weight?
So that I was originally at that weight at youth, so that was the weight that I would have won all my medals at. And then for people that wouldn't know, I had to go up to, well, I didn't have to, but 75 kilo was the Olympic weight. So it was either move up and box at a weight that I wasn't comfortable at to try and go to the Olympics, or I'll stay at my weight and not get as much experience. So looking back, it was a huge opportunity for me, which I took, and I'm delighted I did take at the time, because I have gained so much experience from it. I fought girls that were bigger than me, more experienced than me, and I travelled the world with it. So now that the 69 kilo categories after being added, it wasn't even a question. Like I had to move down, and myself and my coach decided I wasn't entering the ring again at 75 kilo, that 69 kilo was my weight. So a year and a half ago, I went to a tournament abroad with my coach as my club, and I boxed at 69 kilo, and it was just unbelievable. The difference in me as a boxer and me as a person, it was just unbelievable. I feel better, I feel fitter, I feel more confident in the ring. So obviously it was a no-brainer. I was going down, and that was it. I got injured this time last year, so that everything just went out the window, and I started here and I started in college and all that, so things just took a back seat in the boxing for a while. And I made the decision just before Christmas, I was going to settle down and make the weight, and I suppose I started making it just before Christmas. Now, I enjoyed Christmas, but since then it's been fairly flat out, and it's been fairly a tight regime trying to make it. And in fairness, there was a few weeks in between that I was like, oh, there's no hope I'm going to make it, but in the end it flew off. It was just a matter of pushing the wall, as they say. If you've ever trying to make weight, there's a wall that you hit, and I just pushed through that wall, and thank God I made it very comfortably. I was weighing in well underweight and eating everything and drinking everything, so I'm very happy the way I made it. I'm very happy the way that it all worked out, and everything slotted in. After a few torturous weeks, it all slotted into place.
Well, you looked very comfortable at the weight on Saturday, but the word you mentioned there at the start of your answer is the Olympics, and obviously the Tokyo Games are only around the corner, and for you to be coming off a win in the elite finals puts you in the position where everyone is talking about you as an Olympic hopeful. How do you see the next few months going in terms of qualification? And maybe you could enlighten us on the qualification process from here until next year.
So to be honest with you, when I was out with injury, like my biggest thing was to be back for an elite championships, and obviously this was the elite championships to win. That's all I was thinking of, was trying to be back on weight and back for this championship, even just to show up and say, look, I'm back, I'm ready to compete at this weight. For me, winning it was a bonus. So now I'm at that stage, and everyone's like, where to now? And I'm like, oh God, I don't even know myself. Obviously, European Games, European Championships and World Championships are all this year. It's a massive year, regardless of Olympic qualifiers. It's a massive year. Like, they're all three huge tournaments that anyone would take my hand off to go to. I'm obviously now in the number one spot, so I should be the one going away without question. So they're obviously my goals, to go out there and medal at them. Regards qualifying, it's through World Championships, and there's European Games Championships as well. So I'm actually not sure what criteria you have to meet. I haven't looked into it yet, because, as I said, the elites were the main goal. But yeah, it's time for me to look forward now and try to look at the Olympics, really, because that's probably my biggest goal now at the moment, and hopefully these European Championships and World Championships are just a stepping stone. So please God, yeah, that's the next step anyway, and I'm going to relax this week and think about that then and go forward and push it through.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer because as soon as you win an elite, people like me start going, oh, and what's next? But it's hugely important to enjoy and bask in the glory of winning an elite championship. They don't come around. You don't win them. Only some people, Kenny Egan's and the likes, have won 10 elite championships, but they're hard to come by. And so yeah, you're dead right to enjoy the moment now, and you can worry about the Olympics and the rest of that later on. When we spoke yesterday, Christina, you mentioned to me that you have 2 weeks left in the Templemore Garda Training College, and I was just wondering, how have you managed to balance training to be a guard and training to be an elite boxer? Like neither are easy, and both take up a lot of time. How have you found that balancing act?
Look, it's been fairly strenuous now. It's been a long couple of months. But if you want what if your goals are there and if they're set, if you want to make them, you have to do what you have to do. And there was a lot of early mornings and late nights and a lot of thoughts of why the hell am I doing it? Like, there's a lot of that, a lot of conscious there. But it was just time. I timed everything, and everything was fitted into place, and that's what you have to do. It has to be just a routine, and I suppose that's how I got into it. It's weird this week not having that routine now. So, but yeah, that's all. You have to just time everything and have everything working off each other. And in fairness, I have huge backup at home. I have massive support. All my friends and family are very good, and even my classmates here. And it's just a matter of having all of them behind you and the link. And you know what the main thing is the head. If your head is right, you'll do it. Like, if you want to be doing it, you'll do it. And so that's probably more or less it. Like, delighted to be back at the weight that I am now, and I'm feeling fit. I'm feeling massive at this weight. Like, so I'm delighted. So I am.
Well, you mentioned the support you have from your family and your classmates and your friends there in helping you balance the two. But one level of support that you haven't received this year is funding from the Irish Sports Council, despite the fact that you are an elite level athlete. And I suppose, I know you have the support from your family, but how difficult is it to balance the lifestyle of an elite athlete also training to be a guard without any significant financial support from the Sports Council?
Not easy, no. I suppose I'm very lucky to have the support of my dad at home. He's a massive, massive support. He'd do anything to give me a helping hand and to push me through it. But I know there's not funding for everybody, but it just don't, especially women, they don't get the funding. The men might get it, but the women don't. And then boxing don't get as much funding as what it should. It's one of the leading sports in the country for Olympics. It brings home the most medals, and it just does. I don't think it does get the recognition that it should get. The women are absolutely exceptional. All my teammates, the girls even that lost elite titles this weekend, they're all exceptional girls. They train absolutely phenomenally. Like, I'd probably be the most laziest one, being honest with you, and still, still we get in the ring and do our work and bring home the results. Like, and it's hard then when you have to come home and there's no recognition for it, and every sportswoman in the country could say the same thing. It's not just us boxers. Every woman could say it, because it's not there. And the sooner that they realise that these are the sports that are meddling, I hope it's soon, because we need to fight for it, really. It's not good at the moment. It's not good where it is.
Absolutely. Well, Christina, just before I let you go, I have to ask you about professional boxing. I'm not suggesting that you turn over straight away, but you have mentioned in the past that you would be interested if the right offer was to present itself. And it's fair to say female professional boxing is enjoying a bit of a boom period at the minute. Could we see you in with the likes of Clarissa T-Rex Shields down the line at some stage? Is professional boxing an avenue you'd like to go once you're finished with your education and your amateur career?
Absolutely. I'm not closing any doors. Look, I'm 22. I have no idea what I'm going to do. The goal is Olympics, and the goal is to obviously do the best that I can do with my talent, obviously. So if I do tick all in boxes, pro will be a massive, massive experience. I'd love it. I'd absolutely love it. maybe not the pressure of fighting in such big crowds and all that, but that'll come too. I'll get used to that. But yeah, it's an avenue that I'd love to go down, and it's getting bigger, and there's other girls pushing for it now. So hopefully, when it's my turn to turn over pro, then it'll be a huge thing, and it won't be such a taboo thing, and that the taboo of women's boxing will be gone, because it's well and truly being pushed out in the amateur. So I'll just wait for it to be pushed out in the pro, and I'll make my move then.
Okay, Christina. Well, thanks a million for joining us here on the Star Sport podcast, and best of luck with the year ahead. Hopefully we'll speak to you again soon.
Thanks a million. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Star Sports podcast. Don't forget to pick up this week's Southern Star, featuring our award-winning sports section that has everything a sports fan in West Cork could want. Available every Thursday in shops across West Cork and online from anywhere in the world. The Southern Star, #1 for sport in West Cork.
I am joined now by Paddy Crowley, the new Games Promotion Officer for the Carbery division. First off, congratulations, Paddy, on your appointment. First off, can you fill us in a small bit on your GA background?
Perfect. Thank you very much, Kieran. So I suppose I'm a local man, Skibbereen man, play my local football over for O'Donnell Rasa. So I've been kind of playing my trade now with 10 years up in the senior ranks, and trying to turn or look over, but things are going alright. So coaching wise then, I spent 3 years in IT Carlow, where I completed my sports and exercise GA degree. And I would have done a 4th year then in CIT, where I would have had a kind of dissertation with Cian O'Neill, working with the Kerry senior footballers and their pre-season. So I got a fair bit of experience out of that. I probably spent a year in Leinster GA then, working with Loud on the hurling side of things, trying to promote it up there. And I was kind of fortunate enough, I fell into a position here with the Carbery board, where I picked up kind of little projects and promotions around the local area, delivering hurling and football sessions, and things have kind of progressed onto the full-time job now, so it's kind of, I'm very lucky.
What is it about the coaching side, Paddy, that kind of that pulled you in first day?
For myself, I suppose it's kind of being able to work with kids. You know, I won't lie, the teaching side of it, I always looked at it, but I don't think I would have had the patience for it. It's kind of the coaching side, you can come in and out of the schools, you can work away, but you're kind of promoting the healthy side to the kids. Like, you're going in, you're promoting activities, movements, kind of normal activities and fundamental skills that kids don't have nowadays, so you're able to go in and set them on the right track, being able to do it. So that's kind of what kind of attracted me to it.
It's not often I give the Carbery board credit, but I have to give them credit on this. Like, they've got this right, getting the Games Promotion Officer on the ground here in division, because it's a huge division, Paddy, like 26 clubs. And am I right in saying this is the first division in Cork to kind of go out on their own to get a GPO? So like, the board do deserve huge credit for taking these steps to kind of to put someone with your qualifications on the ground here.
They deserve massive credit. They are the first ones to do it. They looked at it hard, and they kind of said it was the best thing, because James McCarthy, he's doing fantastic work around the place, but again, it's very hard for one person to be looking over kind of 26 clubs in the Carbery division. When I was in Loud myself, I had 7 hurling clubs, so 7 out of 36 above, so it's a massive comparison. So even if you were to go around and do the stats, I think Tipperary have 1 GD8 per 17 clubs, Waterford have 1 to 14. It's kind of rough figures now, but I think that's what they are. So for anyone to be looking over 26 clubs is a hell of a lot. And then again, you're dealing with different grades and standards with you have your senior clubs, your junior A clubs, your premier intermediate, junior B. So I suppose the wide variety of clubs within the division is massive in Carbery.
Just explain to people as well what exactly your role will entail. Like, are you on the ground? Are you in national schools, secondary schools, clubs? What exactly is the plan? Yeah,
I'll be more so kind of doing the grafting side of things myself in primary schools, out delivering a kind of fundamental program to kind of junior and senior infants that schools can sign up to. I will then be we'll be splitting the Carbery division into regions, or districts as we call it. So we'll have a Bantry district, Skibbereen district, a North Carbery and an East Carbery district, where there'll be about 6 clubs in the number. So where your Clonakilties and your Bandons might have 30 guys on the age, you will be bringing guys into a district where there's probably only add up to 30. So it's kind of that you're hitting one, you're not out every night hitting a club, and next thing you're out another night, you bring the whole lot in, say the 8s, 10s, 11s, 12s, 13s at an early stage, and you'll be hitting them on the ground. So they'll be working the secondary schools as well, and out doing visits to clubs then as well.
Is improving the basic skills of kids out there, would that be one of your objectives and targets?
Big time. Any child that's able to do the fundamental movements and their right and their left and kind of hopping and skipping is going to be massive. Last week now we spent Thursday and Friday out with squads, or not squads, districts I suppose. We were in Bantry, Skib and Clonakilty with the north and east regions in, and the amount of boys that weren't able to solo on their non-dominant foot and kick was kind of frightening. But again, look, it's early stages, they're not back with their clubs again, but we'd hope that we would be able to kind of expose the clubs to doing it more and kind of bring a good feel factor to it, that anyone that's able to do it, it's the benefit for themselves but also their club going forward, and even the county. Like
you said, getting those basic skills right, like that's paramount going forward, you know, like that'll benefit their clubs and then hopefully down the line even the county.
Oh, big time. I suppose things have changed big time from, you know, when you were a small boy, you were out kicking ball off ball. I was doing the same thing. It has completely changed now. You don't really see many going over to the pitch or over to when the juniors or the seniors are training their local pitch. There isn't too many of the kids staying around watching or kicking a ball. It's kind of more PlayStations and phones and iPads kids are on nowadays, so the basic thing of bending over to pick up a ball now is kind of it's dwindling with some of the kids, so kind of getting them to be able to do the basics is going to be massive going forward with it.
So you've been very kind of hands-on and proactive since you were appointed. Like you're only in the job a couple of weeks now, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm only in the job. I suppose today is the start of my third week in it, but I was kind of in a similar role with them, kind of part-time, doing it. It was kind of week-to-week basis, but again, I would have had my schools and whatnot that I had been visiting and going out to, so it's kind of, I suppose, the security that I have now, that I know every week that I'm working, I can put I can look ahead 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and I know where I'm going to be. So I suppose the security of that is the big thing.
Just for the Carbery clubs now, listening to this, Paddy, what's the big benefit for them? Like, what do you hope that they'll benefit out of this?
I suppose they should be able to see more of myself and James, I suppose, on the ground. Before, it would have been very hard just for James, for himself, to be going out to 26 clubs. We hope to split it up and be able to go out more, see what clubs need, see what help they need going forward, and kind of work with them and, you know, go strength from strength with it.
Quick word just on James. That's James McCarthy from Castlehaven. Like, he's done fantastic work, hasn't he, over the last couple of years?
Yes, look, Carbery were very fortunate to kind of have Kevin Donovan before him, and James kind of stepped up to the plate and kept it going. So like, look, it isn't a hard one. No one's ever going to be happy with what you do. Everyone's going to find a fault in everybody. So look, in fairness, all I have is good words for James. He's been pushing it big time the last few years himself, and again, hopefully I'll be able to help him strengthen the division even more. You know, 4 pairs of hands, you know, 2 pairs of hands are way more than kind of one set, so hopefully we'll be able to spread our wings a small bit more and get out to see more clubs.
No, fantastic, Paddy. Thank you so much for coming in to join us today. No, like I said, it's a great step forward for the Carbery division to have a GPO like yourself, you know, kind of someone who knows what they're doing, and hopefully that the division will reap the benefit in the months and years to come. And I think it's important to kind of just to note too that the Cork GAA, the fundraising body, they're kind of towards the overall cost. I think they're kind of input into that, which is fantastic to see too. So all I can do, wish you the very, very best, Paddy, and thanks for coming in.
Cheers, thank you very much, Kieran.
Thank you for listening to the Star Sports Podcast. Don't forget to pick up this week's Southern Star, featuring our award-winning sports section that has everything a sports fan in West Cork could want. Available every Thursday in shops across West Cork and online from anywhere in the world. The Southern Star, #1 for sport in West Cork.
Welcome back to the Star Sport Podcast. And Kieran, you might give us a roundup of what to expect in Thursday's sports section. Having read last Thursday's sports section and all the sports sections for the last number of years, I have to say I'm the most excited I've ever been about this Thursday's. Tell us what's in it.
I'm a small bit biased again, Jack, but this week's sports section is an absolute cracker. It's a must read for all West Cork sports fans. We have an interview with Conor Ellis from Cahill. He's our local lad who plays with Limerick FC striker. He's chatting about the season ahead. He had an awful time with injury last year, so he's looking forward to kind of getting back scoring goals with Limerick this year and kind of push their promotion bid from the first division in the League of Ireland. We chat to Phil Healy's coach Shane McCormack. Phil is in action at European Indoor Athletics Championships in Glasgow this weekend, starting on Friday. So we chat to Shane about Phil's, I suppose, his expectations and his hopes for what could be a monumental weekend for Phil if everything goes according to plan. Touch wood that she'll get through the heat into the semi-final and qualify for her first European final. Then anything can happen, Jack. So could be a pretty special weekend there. We've a nice bit of rugby. Rugby's going well in West Cork, as we all know. Unfortunately, while Clonakilty brilliantly, they won their Munster Challenge Cup final last weekend. Bad news for Bandon Rugby. They played the Munster Clubs Challenge Cup final against Richmond, and that doubled up as a league game against a league game 2 against Richmond, but they lost. What that also means, they didn't just lose the final, but they've lost out the defence of their Munster Junior League. So we carry match report from that. So plenty there. All the GAs, as always, kind of from the Cork ladies reports to the Cork Camogie team, to the Cork men's, to the Cork hurlers, even to the local GAC with the Under-21 football championships kicking off this weekend, Jack. As well as that, the 2018 Beara Under-21 football final was played last weekend. Small bit late, but better late than never, I think.
Exactly.
You know? So we've a report on that. So there's plenty there for sports fans of all tastes. So,
well, I have to say, I cannot wait. And for those of you who don't know, the Southern Star is out every Thursday, and the newspaper is also available online, www.southernstar.ie/e-paper. But Kieran, away from Thursday sports section, we also have a competition for our listeners this week. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Southern Star, we're the newspaper that keeps on giving. So we have a Cork GAA jersey to give away to one lucky listener of our podcast. So this is very, very simple to enter, Jack. All you have to do is answer a very, very simple question. And the question is, who beat Cork in last Saturday night's Alliance Football League Division 2 game at Páirc Uí Rinn? That's the game Meath won by a couple of points. So all you need to do is email the name of that team to sport@southernstar.ie, and then we're going to pick one lucky winner for a Cork GAA jersey. So the question again is, which team beat Cork in last Saturday night's Alliance Football League Division 2 game at Páirc Uí Rinn? The game Meath won by a couple of points.
So, listeners, all you have to do is email the word Meath to sport@southernstar.ie, and you could win a Rebels jersey. So best luck to all our listeners with that one.
Before we finish up, Jack, will you say the number 3 for all our listeners here, kind of?
Well, I suppose we should add some context to this. Just before we started recording this podcast today, I noticed the third number of the numbers on my running order, and I had a bit of a panic attack because I struggled with the word. With 3 is how I would say it, but that's how most Irish people say it, I feel. But in a professional broadcasting environment, I thought it didn't seem overly skilled.
That was pretty impressive, your 3 and your thirds there. So.
Three is how I would say it if I was trying to read the news, but I suppose that's not what we're about here on the Star Sport podcast.
No, that was pretty impressive, Jack.
How do you, if you try to say it properly, how would you say it?
3.
3.
It's 3, kind of 1, 2, 3.
3. Yeah, but can you say it with a H? 3.
I can't say many things with a H. I'm kind of verbally challenged, I think, at the best of times. So.
Well, if there's anyone out there listening who can teach us how to phonetically pronounce the number 3 correctly, feel free to also email us at sport@southernstar.ie.
I have a feeling my email inbox could be very full this week, Jack. But come here. Thanks very much for joining us again, everyone. This podcast is now available to listen to on Spotify. We'll be back next week at the same time, so make sure to rate, review and subscribe on iTunes, Android or anywhere else you listen to the show. Thanks very much.